Michigan Wolverines are U.S. college football national champions in large part thanks to their incredible ground game. They outgained Washington on the ground 303 yards to just 46 for the Huskies. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, spectacular. Speaking of spectacular, let's head to the field in Houston and talk to our friend Farhan Lalji, who watched this one. Farhan, biggest story has to be the Michigan Wolverines defense. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. could not have been better last week against Alabama. And this week, they just shut down Washington's biggest weapon. How'd they do it?
Yeah, they did it based on what they've done most of the season, and that is pressure the quarterback with 4. You saw last week against Alabama and Jalen Milroe, they actually blitzed 43% of the time, which is very much out of character for Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for Michigan. This time around, he did not want to take a chance by letting those Washington receivers run free. He wanted to have additional defenders back there to help, and he had faith in his defensive line, and they absolutely lived up to all of that. They were able to get there. You know, they've got 9 different defensive linemen that rotate through all the time. No Aiden Hutchinson necessarily, or a big first-round guy that's going to get drafted. These are just all guys that can play the game at a real high level here collegiately, and they were able to get after Washington's offensive line. And Washington's very good at the offensive tackle spots, but they're a little bit young inside, and they were able to get there. And you can see with Michael Penix, he was just off tonight, but you've got to give Michigan's defense credit for that, because I'll tell you, we're going to talk about the rush game in a sec, but Washington's defense in the second and third and even midway through the fourth quarter played great. This was a one-score game, but that offense, every time they had an opportunity, they just couldn't get there because of just how well Michigan's defense and that defensive line played.
Well, and you said it, the rushing game, incredible. Michigan rushes for 303 yards. Farhan, that breaks the college football playoff championship game record. How were they so effective on the ground?
Well, they really came to play, and this all happened in the first quarter, because you talk about a Michigan team that has not been explosive offensively coming into this game. They had just 19 plays of over 30 yards. They had 4 of them in the first quarter of this game. Almost 175 yards rushing out of that 300-plus all came in the first quarter. And when you look at how these rushes came, I mean, these guys were untouched. They had 2 rushes of over 40 yards, 1 of over 50 on the final play by Blake Corum of that quarter. And Washington committed so much to stopping the run that whenever Michigan was able to create that crease at the first level, quite often there was no second level, and in some cases no third level, and these guys were just running free after that. Washington did make some adjustments in the second and third quarters, but you know, a lot of talk coming into this game about Washington winning the Joe Moore Award for the top offensive line in the country, and Washington definitely is much more of a pass-protecting type of offensive line. Michigan won that award the last 2 years. You have to believe on some levels they were pretty motivated to say, no, we're the best offensive line in the country, and in the first quarter they looked like it.
You know, this Michigan Wolverines team, I mean, it was a wild year, right? The sign-stealing scandal, yeah. Harbaugh suspended for 6 games, and now he leads them to that national championship that everyone thought he would when he joined the program. But with lots of talk about him potentially leaving the program, what do you think the future holds for this University of Michigan program, Farhan?
Well, there's no reason that Michigan shouldn't be competing for Big Ten championships and eventually national championships as well. I've said before, I'm surprised it took them until 2021 to get to this point. This is a big brand with big resources. They should have been here long before that, but they're finally here now. Jim Harbaugh delivered on his promise. He's now got a big contract in front of him, 10 years at $125 million, so $12.5 million per year. That is Jay Onrait money, but it doesn't look like he's going to take it. Everybody expects that he's going to wind up going to the NFL. There's a number of teams that are there and ready and willing to have dialogue with him, and there are going to be more sanctions coming, like it or not, right? I mean, the 3 games for the sign stealing late in the season and the 3 games early in the season for the recruiting violations and misleading investigators, there is more of a pound of flesh to be had here. That's why the entire university was all in on this year. There's going to be more pain, and if you're Jim Harbaugh, you've climbed to the top of the mountain, get out now so you don't have to deal with that going forward. But Michigan should still be back on this stage regularly.
And it's amazing, you know, the Wolverines, it's just their second national championship since '48, first since '97. Either way, it's always great to talk to this guy, Farhan Lalji from Houston. Thanks for this, buddy.